Thank God it's a Tuesday. Ito po ang September 21, 2021 edition ng The Stock Market Today. 95 days na lang Pasko na. Ngayon po ay ang 49th anniversary ng Declaration of Martial Law in the Philippines. Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Benji Chidoro. Ako po ay isang retired bank officer who started to invest in the Philippine stock market in 2007, and I do this report every day, which I started August of last year. I also report the latest news on your favorite and most active stocks. If you like the content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you have stocks in mind that you want reviewed, please comment on the comment box and I will prioritize. Ang ating financial news ay tungkol sa Maya Bank ng PLDT. Kasama po ang ating financial headlines at ang resulta ng trading sa ating PSE ngayong araw, ika-21 ng Setyembre 2021, dito lamang sa The Stock Market Today. Okay po, let's start. Pero before we go to our financial headlines, ngayon po ay the 49th anniversary of the Declaration of Martial Law under Ferdinand Marcos. Sa makikita niyo po yung headline na po sa newspaper. Ang newspaper po noon ay The Manila Times, the Daily Express, at yung Times Journal. Pero at the time that martial law was declared, nawala po yung dalawa. Actually, apat, Manila Chronicle. Pero at the time that martial law was declared, nawala po lahat yan, except for the Daily Express. And it appeared on a Sunday, yung declaration of martial law. But yung September 21, 1972 was a Thursday. So from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, news blackout po yan. Wala pong dyaryo, wala pong periodiko, wala pong radyo, wala pong TV. ABS-CBN was shut down except for one channel. Channel 9, yung KBS, Canloan Broadcasting System. At the time ay natatandaan ko ay magagabi na po noon nung lumabas itong personality sa TV, kasi ang pinapalabas lang po sa Channel 9, alam niyo po kung ano, wala pong palabas, cartoons ang palabas, The Wacky Races. Kung alam niyo po yung cartoon show na yon, puro The Wacky Races po. And it was a Saturday then when I was at my grandfather's house because we had piano lessons. Pagkatapos mo ng piano lessons ay naglalaro po kami, pero wala pa kami mapanood sa TV. Yan, The Wacky Races lang. And mga bandang 7 po ay lumabas na po itong personality na ito. And guess who that personality is? Yan po ang Minister of Public Information ni Marcos, Francisco Tatag, who announced the declaration of martial law. And then Marcos himself went on television to announce also the reasons on why he proclaimed martial law in the Philippines. So let's take a look at this article here from Wikipedia. Ang sabi niya dito, at 7:15 p.m. on September 23, 1972, President Ferdinand Marcos announced on television that he had placed the entire Philippines under martial law. This marked the beginning of a 14-year period of one-man rule which would effectively last until Marcos was exiled from the country on February 24, 1986. Ito po yung EDSA Revolution. Even though the formal document proclaiming martial law, Proclamation 1081, which was dated September 21, was formally lifted on January 17, 1981, Marcos retained essentially all his powers as dictator until he was ousted, while the period of Philippine history in which Ferdinand Marcos was in power actually began 7 years earlier. He was the first inaugurated president of the Philippines in late 1965. This article deals specifically with the period where he exercised dictatorial powers under martial law, and the period in which he continued to wield those powers despite technically lifting the proclamation of martial law in 1981. When he declared martial law in 1972, Marcos claimed he had done so in response to the communist threat posed by the newly founded Communist Party of the Philippines and the sectarian rebellion of the Mindanao Independence Movement. Ito po yung future MILF or MNLF. Opposition figures at the time such as Lorenzo Tañada, Jose Jokno, and Jovito Salonga accused Marcos of exaggerating these threats, using them as a convenient excuse to consolidate power and extend his tenure behind the two presidential terms allowed by the 1935 Constitution. After Marcos was ousted, government investigators discovered that the declaration of martial law had also allowed the Marcoses to hide secret stashes of unexplained wealth, which various courts later determined to be of criminal origin. This 14th period in Philippine history is remembered for the administration's record of human rights abuses, particularly targeting political opponents, student activists, journalists, religious leaders, farmers, and others who fought against the Marcos dictatorship. Based on documentations of Amnesty International, Task Force Detainees of the Philippines, and similar human rights monitoring entities, historians believe that the Marcos dictatorship was marked by 3,257 known extrajudicial killings, 35,000 documented tortures, 77 disappearances, and 70,000 incarcerations. So yan po yung brief summary of martial law under Ferdinand Marcos. Pero sa totoo lang po, ay nagkakagulo na po noon dahil there were student demonstrations left and right, at least here in Manila. Po. Kasi po yung mga student activists nasa Moraita, nasa University Belt po. And nagkakagulo na po. Hindi makalabas po yung tao. I think it was talagang nagkakagulo, at least here in Manila. But yung pagtagal ng martial law ay hindi dapat tumagal yun Dapat na-arrest muna yung kaguluhan. Then after that, ni-restore uli ang democracy. Di po ba? Kaya po, yung one-man rule ni Marcos, sino po gumagawa ng mga batas? Hulaan niyo po kung sino. Si Marcos din. Yan po yung presidential decree. Kaya po hanggang ngayon, may mga batas tayo na under presidential decree, yun po ay gawa ni former President Marcos. Okay po, so that's our bit of news on Marcos at tao na po ako noon nung nag-declare ang martial law. I was about to enter high school or nasa high school na po ako noon until I finished college under martial law. Okay po, so let's now take a look at our next item. Tingnan po muna natin ang ating okay, so tingnan naman muna natin yung ating financial headlines. Lakihan natin ito. Yan, September 21. On our economic news, the Senate ratifies BICAM on retail trade. Then the second bullet is wealth tax. May wealth tax pala dito. Wealth tax filed with the House of Representatives. Ano kaya to? Lawmakers in the leftist Makabayan Bloc filed House Bill 10253 in the House of Representatives yesterday, which, if enacted into law, would impose a 1 to 3% wealth tax on individuals with net value assets exceeding 1 billion. Okay, pero kailangan tingnan din natin ang practice in other countries, di ba? Kung meron nga bang wealth tax, baka mag-alisan yung mga businessmen dito, no? Anyway, sa sectoral news, ito po yung ating main news. Voyager's PayMaya secures digital bank license from BSP. So, titignan po natin si Tel mamaya. Then converge stocks to be traded in the US markets via unsponsored ADRs. ADRs is American Depository Receipts. Then we have AREIT included in FTSE, EPRA, NAREIT Asia X Japan REIT Index. Oh, ang dami nito. FTSE, EPRA means hindi niya nilagay dito eh. But it's probably an index within the Asia-Pacific region. Ano po? So, titignan din natin si AREIT mamaya. Then, MEG earmarks 40 billion to develop 462-hectare ecotourism township in Palawan. Then, excise tax collection from cigarette reach 83 billion. Titignan din natin si MEG dito. At dito si MEG at si LTG. And then, we have one request from MWC and DNL. So, tignan din natin po si MWC and DNL. Okay po. So, tignan na po natin. So, let's now go to our main news item. And let me put it up first. Ito, si PayMaya. Punta tayo kay PayMaya from Philstar. PayMaya to accelerate Pinoy's digital adoption. Voyager Innovations Inc., through its financial technology arm PayMaya Philippines, is poised to further accelerate digital adoption among Filipinos through its recently approved digital bank venture. PayMaya was able to obtain the approval of the BSP to establish a digital bank named Maya Bank. In a statement, PayMaya said the soon-to-be established Maya Bank intends to primarily focus on the largely unbanked and underserved population of consumers and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. It also plans to promote digital financial services among the youth, women, senior citizens, and other underbanked segments. The digital transformation of our country is at the top of the PLDT Group's agenda, and this development is a big step forward for Voyager and PayMaya. Maya Bank will be a key vehicle in hastening digital adoption among Filipinos through inclusive financial services, PLDT, Voyager, and PayMaya Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan said. As a neobank, Maya Bank will provide mobile-first digital banking services on the back of PayMaya's e-wallet and proven technology platforms. It will maximize PayMaya's extensive Smart Padala agent network and leading merchant payments processing business to serve more customers and grow the digital financial ecosystem. Okay, so now let's go to our Philippine Stock Exchange Index and let's see what happened. It ended almost flat, but it's not flat. It gained 23.30 points or 0.34%. And my guess is that it was the services which pulled this up. Okay, so it ended at 6881.20, but yung formation po ng ating candlestick is still somewhat bullish, although pababa po yung kanyang movement. Although the closing price is above yesterday's, pero yung formation ng candlestick is looks like it's pababa because our indicators are about to cross the candlestick. Now, RSI is still bullish at 53 with net foreign selling at 216 million. So, yung ating summary ay tignan naman natin. So, tignan natin kung what happened to the markets today. So, yung ating market activity ay okay. So, 116 companies declined, 64 advanced, while 51 remained unchanged. So yung all-share index also declined by 0.03%, but the financials, the sectoral indices ended mixed. The financials, industrials, and mining ended in the red, while the holding companies, properties, and services ended in the green. The losers was led by the industrials at 0.68%, while the gainers was led by properties at 0.72, followed closely by 0.62% gain from services. This was led by PLDT. That's my guess. Now, yung ating market status po ay tingnan po natin ang the following. So let's review. Meron pong request dito si Marijoy Maringit or Maringgit. Thanks po for sharing your knowledge. I would like to request for a review of MWC and DNL. Okay, so i-prioritize natin po yung dalawang yan. And then, welcome po sa ating new subscriber, si Riz Obregon, Mariong, Erhard Larga, and Phil Investor, FG, yun po ang so far, or Christian J. Vinyas, Rod Torres, Renato Mica de Dios. Okay, so let's start now with MWC. Okay, wow, MWC. Well, based on a one-day chart, MWC is bearish, but it ended in a green today, you know. So it opened at 1710 and closed at 1744. Pero it's red here since the closing price today is lower than the closing price of the previous day. Kaya red po dito. However, it's green here on the left side on the candlestick since the closing price today is higher than the opening price. So, wag sana po kayo malito. So, based on our moving averages, bearish pa rin po siya since nag-crossover pa lang yung ating short and medium term indicators and the trend is bearish, although the EMA 100, which is our long-term indicator, is still on an upward trend, no? So it's just about to cross. So yun po ang aking assessment based on a medium and short term, based on the short term and medium term moving averages. The sentiment for Manila Water is bearish. So tingnan natin kung merong news. Okay, wala siya. Now, yung kanyang tingnan natin yung kanyang, ito yung kanyang resistance, no? Nearest resistance is here sa 1812 to 1820, yung nearest resistance po niya. And the next resistance after that ay nandito po sa area to. Yan, 1870. But the nearest support, I would place it at, lagay natin sa EMA 100, ano? Nasa 1707 yung nearest support ni Manila Water. The next after that would be, the lower support would be 1620. When I talk of support and resistance, these are not exact points, but these are areas. RSI is bearish at 37. So that's my insight for MWC. DNL. Okay, DNL is also bearish. DNL completes 5 billion maiden bond. So why is it bearish? Ngayon, yung pinaka-support area niya is here. Nasa 1750 po yung pinaka-support area niya. The nearest resistance nandito po sa 838, yung nearest resistance po ni DNL. Ngayon, there is another resistance that I see here. Ito sa area nito na po. Nasa 790 to 8 pesos yung nearest resistance kasi merong support na naging resistance po dito sa area nito. Okay. Since it has a bearish sentiment and RSI is also bearish at 32, malapit na po maging oversold po ito. Kasi po pagka naging 30 po yan and below that, oversold na po ang tawag sa stock, meaning na anytime soon the stock price may reverse. So after DNL, tingnan naman natin si, oh, by the way, before we leave MWC and DNL, tingnan naman natin kung ano yung fundamentals, ano po. Based on fundamentals, si MWC, ang target price ni BDO Securities is 1740. So right now, nasa 1744. So nasa presyo na po siya, 1744. And then yung kay DNL naman, ang target price ni BDO Nomura, nasa 10 pesos. So may about 28% upside. Okay? So tingnan natin sa DNL, 10 pesos yung upside. Ay yung target price niya, no? So nasa 771. So meron pa upside dyan. So maaaring market sentiment lang po itong pababang presyo nito. And then tingnan naman natin si TEL. Yan, si TEL. Nag-breakout siya. And probably because of Maya Bank. Yung Pay Maya subsidiary niya, no? So, and it gained 90 pesos today to end at 1600. And it had a low of 1465. Kung nagtatrade po kayo dito, ay kumita po kayo dito. Kung natsyempohan niyo po yung bili dito sa 1465 or within that vicinity, ay kumita po kayo at you sold near the high at 1630, 1636. May net foreign buying po dito and foreigners are bullish because of the good fundamentals of TEL and the good sentiment because of the news. So, yung kanyang nearest support nandito po sa 1500. The nearest resistance ay I think medyo malayo to, no? Kasi it has been quite some time before PLDT has reached new highs, no? So, I think ang pinakamalapit na resistance ay nandito po sa 17, nasa 1740 yung next resistance level ni TEL, no? Based on a 1-week chart. So, kung titingnan po natin ang fundamentals ni TEL, ay ang target price po ng BDO is at 1603. Na-reach na po niya yung target price niya. Pero, market sentiment, pagka technicals kasi, market sentiment eh. So, kung ito, tulad nito, merong volume po tayo today and merong surge na po sa candlestick, maaring tumaas pa po ito. Itong presyo natin sa TEL, maaring umabot ng 17 po yan, yung next resistance level. Okay po? And then, let's take a look at Converge. Okay, Converge has a patuloy pa rin yung pagtaas niya, no? So, nagkaroon lang siya ng dips dito, but if you take a look, yung ating indicators are moving upwards. Yung support level niya ay nandito sa 3220, or we can take the M20 as our support at 3240. So, within that vicinity po. Now, the nearest resistance, ito na po yung high, no? But yung resistance po niya ay 3530, or it reached a high of 35 today, and 52-week is 3670. Pero based lang po ito sa 2 or 3 candlesticks. So that's for Converge, and it is still bullish. You can ride the bullishness of the trend in TEL dahil wala pa siyang signs of slowing down. And then AREIT. Okay, AREIT appears to be moving sideways in the past since September 6. September 3 to September 6. So just moving sideways with support at 37 and resistance at 38.60. Tapos LTG. Okay, si LTG naman, yan. Nagkaroon siya ng another breakout, ano? At yung formation niya is becoming bullish already with RSI at 65 34. So, nasa 10 pesos na siya, and yung kanyang turnaround started here on September 16. And yung ating short-term indicator is now under the candlestick, and with our medium-term indicator is already lower than our closing price today. So, yung ating pinaka-resistance level ay nandito po sa 10.13, yung nearest resistance. The next one would be here at 11.15. So, bullish po yung LTG. Then, finally, we have MONDE. Okay, MONDE is still bullish, although nagdi-dip po siya ngayon. At yung ating RSI is at 67, which is bullish. Nag-oversold, overbought level na po siya, with support here at 1773. So that's for MONDE. Yan po ang ating report sa stock market. September 21, anniversary po ng martial law. Ito po si Benji Chidoro, nagpapaalala, mag-ingat sa COVID, mag-ingat sa scam. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik at hanggang sa muli. God bless and bye for now.